0.0001%. That was the exact microscopic probability of survival given to a fragile human child. Imagine this. She's lying motionless, tiny, barely breathing inside a medical chamber aboard the absolute largest hospital station in the galaxy. And this tiny fraction, that was the grim, unyielding number the alien doctors assigned to her life.
To the alien doctors handling the case, the math was absolute. Every single calculation confirmed that tiny fraction. Every simulation agreed. Literally every doctor signed the exact same report. Mathematically speaking, there was just nothing more to be done. So the Alien Coalition Medical Council looked at the data and closed the case right then and there. To them, it was simply a tragic inevitability.
But, well, the humans completely refused to accept that. On day 1, the child is motionless. Fast forward to day 11, and her father, he's a human engineer, is still standing right outside her room. For 11 straight days, the guy hasn't slept, he hasn't shaved, he's barely even eaten. He just sits there beside the chamber, waiting, with this absolute, utter refusal to leave her side.
Now, the alien medical staff looked at the father with pity. But the crazy thing is, it wasn't because his daughter was dying. They pitied him because he inexplicably still believed she could live. As one physician actually noted, humans struggle with acceptance. Hope is often irrational. The father actually overheard this being said, but he just didn't say a word.
And then came the 12th day. The worst happened. The girl's heart stopped. Alarms are absolutely exploding all throughout the medical ward. Doctors rush forward immediately, working desperately, right? Meanwhile, the father is just standing there frozen, watching and listening. The minutes drag on. The medical team tries everything they possibly can. And then, no pulse, no brain activity. Just nothing.
All that frantic energy in the room, it just completely evaporated. The exhausted lead physician finally steps back, utterly defeated, and simply declares, "It's over." And this heavy, just crushing silence fills the room. Every alien present lowers their eyes. Nobody wants to witness that specific, agonizing kind of pain.
But right then, something entirely unexpected happens. The father slowly walks toward the chamber, and he smiles. Now, it wasn't a happy smile, or a normal one by any stretch. It was a strange smile, like the exact kind of expression someone wears when they have already lost absolutely everything. He just simply says, "Okay."
The alien doctors are exchanging these super confused looks. Okay, that was it? The father leans in, gently kisses his daughter's forehead, and calmly whispers these words right into the dead silence. Plan A failed. The lead physician frowns, just completely bewildered by this human's reaction, and asks, "What?" The father calmly looks up and repeats, "Plan A." And the silence in the room suddenly shifts. You can feel this creeping uneasiness wash over the alien physician as he asks, "What do you mean, Plan A?"
In response, the human engineer quietly reaches into his pocket. He pulls out a small data drive, then another, and another one, exactly 12 of them in total. The room goes absolutely dead silence as the physician swallows hard and asks, "What are those?" The father answers quietly, but with this immense, undeniable weight. He just says, "Plan B."
Literally instantly, across the entire hospital station, thousands of notifications activate simultaneously. Research files, engineering reports, experimental studies, prototype designs, completely unfinished theories. It was this massive, overwhelming flood of data hitting the station systems all at the exact same time. See, for those agonizing 11 days, the father hadn't just been sitting around waiting. He had been secretly contacting literally every human scientist he knew. And then they contacted everyone they knew. We're talking every university, every laboratory, every research station. Programmers, doctors, engineers. He essentially networked millions of humans to jump on one single problem, and he nearly crashed the station's entire medical network in the process.
The alien doctors are just staring in absolute horror and sheer disbelief. The staggering scale of this totally unauthorized human response was just completely beyond their comprehension. They look at him and ask, "You mobilized an entire species for one child?"
And the father? He actually looks kind of confused by the question. He just says, "She's my child." To him, and to the millions of humans who answered that call, that one simple, profound sentence completely justified mobilizing an entire species. It was as if that explained the whole shebang. And, well, somehow to humans, it absolutely did.
Now those 12 drives were packed full of impossible ideas, ridiculous theories, and untested, highly experimental technologies. Frankly, 99% of it was completely useless. Most of it should never have worked in a million years. But that tiny 1%, one radical idea caught someone's attention, then another, and then another.
Within just hours, the whole station is transformed. Scientists start arriving from across the galaxy. Human volunteers are flooding into every single department. Engineers are literally rewiring entire medical systems while researchers are grinding around the clock. And the coalition? They're watching all this in total disbelief. Because no government ordered this, no military coordinated it, no corporation funded it. It was just this massive influx of humans simply choosing to help because one child was dying.
Fast forward 3 days later.
A tiny signal appears on the girl's monitor. It was weak. It was faint. But it was undeniably, absolutely real. A heartbeat. The entire room just completely freezes. Nobody even breathes.
The signal comes again and again. And then the child opens her eyes in absolute silence. The impossible literally just happened. Several of the alien doctors actually had to go up and check the monitors manually because they just couldn't believe what they were seeing. She survived against every single prediction, every calculation, and every expert opinion. And the father? He instantly collapses into tears. Not because he was so strong or so brave, but because for 13 excruciating days, he had been absolutely terrified.
As the rest of the station watches quietly, the lead physician approaches the father, and he asks him one simple question. Why refuse to give up? The human kind of laughs through his tears, looks back at his sleeping daughter, and shares this incredibly poignant thought. He says, the moment you give up on your child, you stop being a parent.
Now, years later, this exact event became required study across all coalition medical academies. And it wasn't for the science or some new medical treatment. It was because of what it revealed about our species. It proved that humans do not measure the value of a life statistically, the way the aliens did. Humans measure it personally. It basically left the rest of the galaxy with this terrifying, awe-inspiring realization. When humans truly care about someone, they will completely defy the odds. They will literally fight mathematics itself, even when the entire universe explicitly tells them they cannot win. And that brings us to the end of today's explainer. I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. How far would you go to fight the odds for someone you love? Thanks so much for joining me for this incredible cinematic story today, and I'll catch you on the next one.